Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk about how can we use crosshair based interaction in augmented reality. So before moving into the actual implementation, let's talk a little bit about what a crosshair based interaction is. So till now what have we done is simply spawning an object whenever you click on a particular location in the screen, right? So if you click on anywhere in the screen, that is the point where you want to spawn an object in the real world. But the problem here is that, say we have a tablet, right? So if the user is using a tablet, then we have to do the interaction by holding the tablet, which may be a little bit bigger based on how big the tablet the user is using, right? So he can hold the tablet with one hand and then touch the location where he wants to put the object with other hand, right? So there is two hand interaction. Now the problem with this solution is that the when the user is holding the tablet with one hand, the tablet might be shaky, right? And then the location he want to put the um, the furniture might not be accurate. So we need to fix it. Although this for our application, this is not that critical. That means the user might not want to locate and furniture in an exact location. But you know what, like in some cases, for example, he want to put a furniture in the corner of the room, then he might want to have like get some accuracy, right? So this is what we are going to solve. We are going to use a crosshair based interaction so the user can hold the tablet with both of his hand, and then he can move the tablet and place the object. I'll show you the example um, of crosshair based interaction. One example is the measure app that shows you that the user can measure anything with a phone. So here he is, you see that thing, this circular thing, this is the crosshair, right? So now it's basically where you put your crosshair, that is going to be the location to spawn the object. So this is important to get crucial points for this application. We're going to make similar kind of application in the future tutorials where we can measure different kind of things. If you haven't seen the demo the app I'm going to make, you can see in one of my other video where I show that I created similar kind of application with AR core, but we're going to develop that in AR foundation. But yeah, but for now we're going to basically trying to implement this crosshair thing, right? So wherever you move your camera, there should be the crosshair, right? So you can use the crosshair to move to pick a particular location in the augmented reality world. Okay, so let's see how we can do that. To do that, first of all, we need a crosshair, right? So I'm going to skip the import and sprite thing of the the crosshair. You can use any crosshair you want, or you can use the one that I'm providing in the GitHub link. It's up to you. So I'm simply going to import that, and then I'm going to write some script. So first of all, let's write the script, assuming that I already have the asset. Okay, so to hold that game object, I need to have a um, game object field. So it should be game object. Oops, it should be game object cross here, and I also need to make it serialized so I can change the value from the editor. Next, I'm going to create a method called cross here calculation. Now this is where I am going to implement all the logic to show the crosshair in my screen, right? So crosshair calculation, right? And I'm going to call this in the update. Okay, so this method is going to be responsible for calculating where I should put the crosshair. Now how do we do that? First of all, we need the center location from our screen. From the center location, we are going to throw a ray to the environment. Okay, so let's grab the center location. I'm going to do vector origin equal, we need a camera, which is the main camera, the air cam, and we're going to convert the viewport to a screen point, right? Screen means the screen that we have um, in our device, right? And the viewport is basically going to be any number that represents the screen from 0 to 1. So that means point 0.5 is going to be the center of the viewport, correct? So we can do new vector 3 0 0.5 0 0.5. This is going to be the center of the screen, right? When we do this, when we convert this viewport to a screen point, that will give us the center location of our screen. So now that we have a screen point, if you remember from our previous tutorial, we had a method which converts the screen point to a ray, right? So we can simply grab that by Control X and just gonna paste it here, and then we need to change this position with the origin, right? So the user is going to basically um, move the camera, and this particular thing is going to keep pointing to the augmented world from the origin, which is the center of the device screen, and then whenever we find that location in the screen point, we just convert that to a ray. Okay, finally we just throw the ray just like before, and we calculate the pose, but we don't need to instantiate anything yet. We can probably do that here. I'm just gonna keep it comment out. Now we have a pose that we will need to spawn the like furniture, right? So what I'm going to do, rather than declaring a local variable here, I'm going to create a global variable. I'm going to do private pose pose. Okay, and here I'm just going to say pose equal to hit 0 pose. That's good. Now here we can basically do pose.position pose.rotation, correct? And also we need to make sure that the marker, the crosshair that we are going to use is following this ray, right? So whenever it hit the ground, we need to make sure that we change the location of that marker based on the heat information that we get from the ray. Okay, so to do that, we are going to simply do this. We are going to do this. We are going to just create another game object. Also, we already have the game object, which is crosshair, right? So we can do crosshair dot transform dot position is going to be hit or pose, maybe pose dot position, right? Right, so this is where we position the crosshair, right? And also we need to create a rotation because the because this is going to be a horizontal plane. We can just change the x rotation, right? just going to do crosshair dot transform dot rotation, not rotation, Euler angles, right? So just going to put the Euler angle with 90 comma 0 comma 0, right? So we don't need any y and z rotation, only need the x rotation, so it's always uh, aligned with the ground. Okay, so that's all about it. And yeah, and now we need the crosshair, and we're going to apply all this to Unity. So let's go back here, just gonna check. Okay, it's all good. I'm just gonna quickly grab the crosshair from my computer. Right, so I already have imported the um, sprite that I'm going to use for the crosshair. I'm going to make it a sprite because it's a 3D game, it's not working as a sprite. And then we need to drag and drop it here. This is going to be the marker. Also we need to make the rotation as 90, right? So 90, when you put the rotation as 90, it becomes something like this, so it's always aligned with the ground. And I am also going to put it somewhere really far, so probably 100, 1000, 1000, 1000. So the reason behind this is that whenever you start the game, we don't have a marker unless we detect something, right? So we are not going to put it in the default location. The user might see it before actually detecting the ground, so we need to put it somewhere far so we cannot see it. That's good. And finally we need to assign all the variable, that means the marker variable, in here. Okay, I hope it should work. Let's create a build and see if it's working. So after building the game into my Android device, I have noticed that the marker size is really big. So I have to make the scale a factor of 10. So I have made the scale as 0.1 for X, Y, and Z axis. And that's all about it. So now we have a marker that we can use to place object in the virtual world. So I'll see you in the next class where we are going to talk about how we can improve this UI, because this looks so dull, and also we need to add some image on this UIs to know that which particular chair or which particular table that we are planning to place on our room, right? So yeah, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next class.